Oh, hello. Welcome to today's video, where we'll be discussing that they're announcing Kill Team Season 3 at Warhammer Fest in just a couple of weeks. And look, I've got a giant arrow, like a real YouTuber. So, okay, Warhammer Fest previews. This went up today on the Warhammer community website, and they detailed the seminars they're going to be showing at Warhammer Fest. And we know that on the Monday of Warhammer Fest, they're going to be doing a Kill Team preview seminar. Now, unless they're going to radically shake up how they're going to preview things for Kill Team, this can't be anything but the first box of Season 3, right? Now, are we going to get an annual announcement alongside that announcement? Who knows? But I don't think they would do an entire, hour-long just Kill Team preview to go, here's an annual. I don't think that's possible. So we might be looking at a box plus an annual, or just a box. If they're giving it its own dedicated hour-long preview, chances are they're doing something in that box that's pretty radical as a shake-up to give them something to talk about for a whole hour, right? It's a new season, so we just had the season of Space Hulk. So what's this going to be? The season is going to be, I would say, it'll be another themed season with something in the box. Will they do the same terrain 4 times with a different narrative sprue? Perhaps. I mean, hopefully not, right? But perhaps. Once again, the single biggest and most favoritist guess on the internet seems to be Catachans versus Tyranids in a jungle. I think I've been hearing that as a rumour since at least Chalnath came out, right? If not just straight after Octarius came out, people were like, oh yeah, they'll do Catachans versus Tyranids in a jungle. And maybe they will, and the Tyranid thing would certainly tie in with the lore that's coming for the new 10th edition launch box, which as far as we know is probably called Leviathan and has a pile of Tyranids in. I actually wonder if they'll go another way. We know they like to tie the Kill Team narrative into what's going on in the greater 40k, sort of kind of vaguely, right? But, I mean, I say sort of kind of vaguely because the first Kill Team box was set on Octarius, and around that time, Octarius was kind of this big thing, and then it drifted off Octarius, and then it was set on the Gallodark, which seemed like it tied in with the Arcs of Omen, but then the Gallodark turns out not to be one of the Arcs of Omen. Anyway, my point is, according to the spoilers that we've seen for the new Arcs of Omen book, The Lion, at the end of that book, I'm not going to give you any sort of real plot detail spoilers, but at the end of that book, there's a kind of what's the word? A soliloquy, I guess, suddenly from Inquisitor Cortez, right? And he ends by saying that he's going to have to mobilize his forces. Now, Inquisitor Cortez was particularly, I don't know whether he still does, because I'm a little bit out of the loop, but he used to have rules for having, squads of cultists. So, his whole thing was his spy network, and he had loads of little mortals around doing his bit. And yeah, he worked with the Grey Knights and everybody else and all that as well, just like any other Inquisitor from his ordo. But his rules, as far as I remember, were to do with his spy network, and he had all these people and all these operatives around the place. And so I wonder if this will be the box where, I'm going to say it, an Inquisition team, right? Maybe not Inquisitor Cortez, because I think they're going to save him for a big 40k release. He's going to end up being twice the size, the size of Hellbracked or somebody for some reason. But I could see it being finally the release of the Inquisition team. Now, this is wishlisting Inquisition versus some kind of ambiguous Dark Angel faction. Are they Dark Angels that are fighting the Inquisition because the Inquisition are trying to work out what's going on with the Fallen and just poking their noses into all the events that we've just seen in that book? Or are they actually Fallen, and if they're Fallen, are they Fallen that have been forgiven by the Lion, or are they OG Fallen and do they actually worship Chaos? I would love to see that box. I don't think that will happen, but I do think the Inquisition is at least a possibility. So I think maybe it'll carry on that thread from the Lion rather than jumping into the new thread of Tyranids fighting Ultramarines, which is a new thing that's happening, like a new threat. Because I think, as cool as Tyranids are, and my wife will kill me if I didn't say it, Tyranids do deserve a kill team. They deserve that representation. But plot-wise, the sneaky operative-y part of the hive mind is the Gene Stealer cults. To me, that's the bit that does the funny little infiltration missions and sabotage and that sort of thing. By the time the hive mind's arrived in force, it's arrived in force, right? So we'll see. The big thing I want to see from Season 3 of Kill Team, and I keep repeating this over and over again, whatever the terrain is, whether it's jungle terrain or city terrain or temple terrain or whatever it might be, I want to see maps. I want to see, like they did for Warcry, I want to see like we have Into the Dark, where they go, right, it's Season 3, you can play, here's the terrain, and here are the layout for the terrain, and these are the fixed layouts of the terrain, and here are the cards for the layout for the terrain, right? And they can do that now. They couldn't do that with Season 1, I get it, because they wanted people to adopt Season 1, and it would have been a big barrier if right out the gate with Season 1 they'd said, you know what, you need this specific terrain to play the game, right? So that kind of level of play would still exist. Season 1 play would still exist. You could still play on Octarius or on whatever terrain you can lay your hands on, and the game would still function. But for people that, the single biggest argument and fracture in the community still and since launch has been, oh, in my club, we tend to do terrain like this. Oh, in my club, we never put a vantage point in the deployment zone. Oh, in my club, we have 27 vantage points on a table. Oh, in my club, we only ever play on Octarius. Oh, in my club, we go all heavy terrain. And so on and so forth. In my club, we don't think Octarius has enough buildings and we add extra pieces. Oh, in my club, we only ever play with the pieces in the box. In fact, we don't always use both scrap pile. It makes the game different. If we were playing off a standardized playset, I think that would be really awesome for the community, in my humble opinion. Although I do totally get the opposing point of view that it removes. Some people really like kind of setting up their little diorama of terrain the way they want and making it look cool and narrative and interesting. I get that, but I just think that the terrain, the table balance, is so key to the game of Kill Team being fun. And it's so difficult to sit down with your opponent and to come up with a table on the fly that's going to make a decent game that it will just suddenly you're not worried about it. You've got that fixed layout and you can just play, right? And it's the same all over the world and you just play. Will be brilliant. Do that, Games Workshop. With Inquisition and Dark Angels in the box, that'd be great. So what about Gallowfall? Gallowfall just must be going for pre-order on the 29th for a release on the 6th. It's the last window left because we know that the thing releasing on the 29th will be the Seraphon FOMO box, right? I think. Mid-video calendar checking. Yeah, that's right. The Seraphon FOMO box is going on pre-order on Saturday the 22nd and is being released on the 29th. So we will know on Sunday the 23rd, if I'm correct, because we'll get the Sunday preview article that will tell us that Gallowfall is coming to pre-order on the 29th and releasing on the 6th, right? And I expect we'll get Gallowfall and Warhammer Underworlds on the same day, because that's what they did last time they released the Kill Team box. They pushed it out on the same day as Underworlds. Possibly on the same day as that Horus Heresy book that they previewed recently, if anybody's watching for that as well, right? I could see them all coming out on the same day. Now, this allows them to clear the decks before 10th edition. Now, here's where I get really, really shifty. A lot of people have decided, I think it was a Valrak rumour, and in fairness to Valrak is often very accurate about stuff, but I've never known him particularly accurate about dates. And he was saying it was going to be, I can't remember if he was saying June or July, but I think it was June, and this June, and it's based on the release dates of the last two boxes. Fine. I just want you to consider something. So in 2017, now there was no Warhammer Fest preceding the launch of Indomitus, right? So we're going back to 8th edition, because of course there was COVID, there was a global pandemic, there was Warhammer Fest online, nobody cared. 2017 Warhammer Fest. The Warhammer Fest where they launched Primaris as a concept, right? And they had exactly the things they're going to have at this Warhammer Fest. They're going to have the first experience of people being hands-on with all the models in the box, okay, and able to chat to the designers and say, this is the new 40k launch box, isn't it cool? And it came on pre-order the very next weekend after Warhammer Fest. So I think, whisper it, but I think potentially you could see the 10th edition launch box go on pre-order on the 6th, of May. For 2 weeks, releasing fully on the 20th of May, which is much sooner than a lot of people say. Now, bear in mind, this is kind of the launch of 10th edition, but not really. There will be 2 launches for 10th edition. If you look at all of the things on Warhammer Community at the moment about 10th edition, it's turning into a 40k video, and you came here for Kill Team, but bear with me. If you look at all the things on the Warhammer Community website for 10th edition, they're all about the miniatures in this launch box that we presume is going to be called Leviathan, right? They're not really talking about 10th edition as a product because they want you to fixate on the only thing in your mind being the big launch box. You order the big launch box, and then a week later they'll announce that, oh, well, this is the actual starter box. That was the FOMO box with the 2-week pre-order for the people that really wanted, the big box with the largest amount of minis right for the money. And now here's the cheaper starter sets that have a slightly lesser value proposition, but are for people that aren't giant, aquatic mammals. Just a little thought there about 40k. Let me know in the comments what you think about 40k. Like, all YouTubers ask this, do you want me to talk about 40k when it comes out? I mean, you don't really get a choice because I talk a little bit about Horus Heresy now and again, despite nobody caring, okay? But it would be interesting to know your take on 40k just for my own benefit. And that's really it today. Quite a short video, okay? Let me know what you think of my release date speculation about the next Kill Team box. Whether you think that announcement of Warhammer Fest can be anything but Season 3. And when do you think 10th's going to come out? Have I forgotten about any reveals? Are there any products that we know about that I haven't accounted for? I know there are Warcry leaks, right? If you go look at, what's he called? Lee, what's his channel called? Tabletop Skirmish Games, I think, ages ago. He posted a video where someone had sent him Warcry leaks. Those, I think, is what's going to be announced at Fest in the Warcry seminar. They're doing a Warcry, a new entry-level starter set with some repurposed Warhammer Underworlds minis, and they're doing a new box with Ghouls versus Stormcast, I want to say. Go and watch Tabletop Skirmish Games. Lee's got a video where he's got some exclusive leaks. Nobody's talked about it because no one in the online community cares about Warcry. But if you do, they're over there. But I think that's what's going to be announced at Fest, and they've kind of spoilt the Warcry announcement there. Anyway, I'm burying the lead in this video. The hobby stream is coming back tomorrow. So if you've hung on to the end, then you're probably the kind of people that care about the hobby stream. The hobby stream's coming back. That's why these 2 grey Kazakin are here. So, as you know, because you've seen the previous video, I painted my Kazakin. So I've got 10 painted Kazakin. I ordered 2 more sets of bodies and legs from somebody on eBay that was breaking up the box. Okay, and then I used the bits from the sprue to make the last 2. So the Hot Shot volley gun and the flamer. I know I'll never use the flamer, but flamers are really cool to paint and build. I might use it on Into the Dark versus Gellerpox Infected or something. I don't know. Hot Shot volley gun, though, quite a useful pick to sub in for that melter gun sometimes against Horde teams, for example. I'll be painting those tomorrow, 7:30 till 10. Greenwich Mean Time, I think. Yeah, the clocks did change. Greenwich Mean Time. Okay. If I can get this camera that's been hanging here, it's just out of shot, but there is a camera hanging here on this rig. If I can remember how this works, and I can get everything working, then you can look forward to a hobby stream. So I'll see you then, hopefully. Excellent 15 minutes. Bye bye. Have a great evening. Cheerio.